What's up, good folks? Bonafide Queen Bree here. Hopefully, you are doing you in the most bonafide way that you know how. I want to create this video. I just wanted to get on video and respond to some clips and some videos that I've seen of this character that they call Sukihanna. Sukihanna is someone who has done some real questionable things, but she outwardly expresses how she is proud of the person that she is and the things that she has done, which to me, I can't necessarily relate to. And I understand that, people say that, the type of background that she has or the type of area or how she projects herself and how she shows the world who she is as a person is along the lines or the ways of, what people would say is the oldest profession in the world. So, with that knowledge and that knowing, I understand that, what she does and what she represents is amongst the people. I don't want to use certain terms, as she likes to use those terms very loosely, but a lot of people would say, she represents the jobs or that would be considered some of the oldest professions in the world. So she likes to proudly, with no shame in her game, no dignity, outwardly express and outwardly, uh, loosely and without apology, she likes to represent who she is as a person or her type of lifestyle. My question is, what really throws me for a loop is that there are people such as her who feels as though they have earned the right to speak a certain way or speak on certain topics and to even present themselves in certain ways that would be in alignment or with certain images of some type of royalty. Is it okay for people who live a certain questionable lifestyle where their morality, their morals, their principles, and their integrity has been in question? Is it okay for them to wear certain regalia? She has been seen wearing certain African regalia. And the reason why I pose the question is because she wears this certain African regalia on her head. And, when it comes to certain positions and certain African regalia, I think that certain things have to be earned. There's certain credentials and certain qualifications for that. Is it not? At least it should be. So it seems as though there may be a little bit of confusion there, because if you say out of your own mouth and you represent yourself and project yourself to the world as a hoe, a whore, or a slut, and then in the next breath or at another time, you want to wear African regalia, and that's supposed to be okay. So again, the question is it okay for certain people who live certain lifestyles and have certain jobs and backgrounds and live in the lascivious ways, and they project and behave it in ways that are considered, living their ways are of the likeness of debauchery and questionable behavior? Should we put them out on a pedestal? How much should we respect these individuals? Okay, I'm asking rhetorical questions. Let's just really get to the meat and potatoes and get to the nitty gritty of it. I think that we have to be very careful about the people who we really give so much attention and light, and give them so much admiration that they get it twisted in the back of their minds, thinking that they are of the likeness and of the ways of men and women that should be set on high. And what I mean by that, people who are exalted, right? People who actually have done things and live righteously to earn certain titles. When you talk about royalty, there is a certain type of way in it. There is certain credentials and certain lifestyles and ways that you have to embody excuse me, to live and earn certain titles. So for a woman like me, or for the women who are queens, or the women who are goddesses, or women who live righteously, and women who excuse me, have certain principles, morals, and standards, it is very offensive to women who actually absolutely have it as an intention to live a righteous lifestyle, and to live a lifestyle where they are exalted or seen in a righteous light. It is offensive because it seems as though they're trying to portray a certain type of image, and then at the same time, it seems as though they are trying to make it seem as though it is okay and that they absolutely represent Black women. And that is the reason why I am making this video message at this time. Excuse me. I feel offended by women such as Sukihanna, who get on platforms, or who get on videos, and who get on different social media platforms, and they get to speak, and they get to loosely say things and talk about certain things and have conversations. And in their conversations, they're talking about things that are absolutely trifling or shameful, and things that are absolutely inappropriate, but making it seem like it's okay. So my thoughts about a person like Sukihanna, or women or men, because it's people who are into this type of industry, or in this type of lifestyle, and have these certain type of backgrounds. There are men and women who engage in these things. Now, if you want to do the things that is a part of the oldest occupation in the world, that's your business. And I'm going to always come, and I'm going to always express and say something about how I am absolutely against people who do these things, but they don't do it in private. So if one may wonder why I'm making this video, and why I'm absolutely against how she loosely comes out of her mouth, and she refers to herself as all of these trifling and lowly ways, and disgraceful titles and ways, and she says it loosely and proudly, and I'm offended because I have excuse me, I have a daughter, but then there is also other young women and then children who can see her content. And her content is, it almost looks like adult porn. A lot of it is. And her content is easily accessible. So that's the problem that I have with Sukihanna and all of the women who are of her likeness. So it's one thing to, you want to live a certain lifestyle, and you want to sell your body, or you want to sell yourself in a sexual way. Well, yeah, that is your business. But I think when it becomes the community's business, and when queens and real stand-up women and strong women, and all righteous women should say something, is when these women come out of their private spaces and behind closed doors, and they create this content, and they do things so loosely and out in the open, where it's possible for my daughter, or my babies, my godchildren, or the children that I love, to see what it is that she's doing. And then they think, oh, it's okay. And then she encourages people to be themselves. Oh, her words is, you should be yourself and you should be true to yourself. You might sleep better at night. And oh, it's okay because yeah, I did it and I'm being true to myself, but a lot of y'all aren't being true to yourself. Everybody have a past and some of y'all have the same past. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of people that have the same past as Sukihanna. I'm not one. So yeah, I take offense to women who want to put themselves in a position of a queen or higher. You want to put yourself on a pedestal because some man or men or women told you that it was okay and that they should put you on a pedestal and that you should be exalted. I don't think so. So I just want to set the record straight, and I just think that there should be some housekeeping going on because obviously society has absolutely compromised and has manipulated and confused the roles, and that is the problem. There are people who are absolutely peasants, and there are people who are whores, who are compromising people, and who are tearing apart homes, and they are doing the most shameful things with no dignity, but so proud about it. Shame is not a thing anymore, but they are glamorizing it. And then of course society has come so far and so has gone, it has come so low as far as what we accept, that society will say that she is that she is the prized possession, or that she is the prize image of what black womanhood should look like. I don't think so. So I myself feel as though there is a need for women like me and sisters, especially because she is a black woman, to absolutely say something and to really put our foot on these women necks, or really just put it out there that we're not rocking with that. I'm not rocking with it at all. I'm not rocking with anybody who is a whore, who is outwardly promoting their whorish ways and their whorish positions where my baby or my babies can access it possibly. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with women who sell sex where children can access it. I have a problem with women who promote sexual proclivities and they don't tell both sides of of what that entails and what that looks like. Now, if you are a man or a woman and you are participating in risky lifestyles, or lifestyles that is absolutely shameful, right? Very risky, then I think that it is your duty and your responsibility to tell both sides, because the people who come across that content and see what it is that she is sharing online that may one day aspire to be a Sukihanna, I think that it is her responsibility to tell them about the risks, because as we know, as grown folks, we know that there are risks to living a promiscuous lifestyle. Before I get into the risks, I want to say that I do not agree with anyone such as Sukihanna, who gets on a microphone and she brags about how some men talk bad about her and says, oh, don't treat her, or don't be a simp, and she'll turn around and say, yeah, but the guys that say that, they want to F me. Is that something to be proud of? Okay, so she says that she's being true to herself. Fine. I have a problem with, again, people who they promote such ways and then they do it irresponsibly. So that's one thing. But then you're talking about sleeping with people such as Ray J, or men who are married, and you are intentionally doing these things and making it a lifestyle, and then you don't tell people about the consequences that comes from your behavior. being the side chick or being the other woman, right? Because you don't have enough self-value and self-esteem, and you don't feel as though you are valued enough to where you can preserve yourself and save yourself for a righteous man, right? Because again, society tell you that what you do is fine, and everything that you do to try to make money, and how you project yourself as a whorish woman is the thing to do, and that it is okay. But while you are saying that and you're trying to glamorize that lifestyle where there's young folks who possibly will want to aspire that, well, let's tell them what the consequences is, and let's tell them what the risks are, right? You break up happy homes or homes period because you're talking about, she said something about Ray J. Ray J is or was a married man. Last I checked, Ray J was married to Princess Love, right? So they are married and they have children. So she sleeps with this man, and he decides to, I don't know, wine and dine her. She said that she's okay with simps, so maybe she refers to Ray J as a simp, and he is taking from his wife and children to go spend money on her and to spend time with her. Okay, so she sleeps with this man or whatever married man, and then there is risks. Do people who live this type of lifestyle explain to people, because she talk about being true to yourself, so we're talking about keeping it real, right? I wonder, does she tell people the negative side and the consequences and the risks that come from that, the risk that comes with being promiscuous? Because she sleeps with him, and then in turn he, more times, 9 times out of 10, is probably sleeping with his wife, and then we can't help but wonder who she may be getting possibly germs and diseases from, right? Let's just keep it all the way real. Who is she? Who is infecting her, or what are the risks of that, right? Because we're all grown. What risk do you run by living a promiscuous lifestyle? We already know that disease, STIs and STDs, is one of the main risk factors of being promiscuous. So while these women and these men are living these lifestyles of debauchery and living these unclean lifestyles, I think that it is their responsibility to talk about the negative aspects of that, and the repercussions of living a promiscuous lifestyle and sleeping around. Now, as I said, what people do in their home and in their bedroom, in privacy and behind closed doors, in controlled and closed spaces where there are only consenting adults, right? Consenting meaning sound mind and body, clear consciousness, not under the influence, not, inebriated, if you will. Because in some places, you can't consent if you're intoxicated or if you are inebriated. So people are glamorizing these things. Why don't we continue to educate the young folks and the people who may not be as strong-minded, and tell them what the risks are of living these certain type of lifestyles, which is one of the reasons why HIV rates is skyrocketed and it are overwhelming numbers, which is one of the reasons why there are so many multiple STDs and high rates of almost every STD. So not only, people want to promote their sexuality and they want to promote a way of making a living, but they never want to talk about the ugly parts of it. And I know that if there's anyone in their right mind who absolutely is educated and warned about the risks that they run by getting into these industries or living a promiscuous lifestyle, well, maybe they will think twice, and then they will value themselves more, and then they will be more encouraged to preserve themselves and their health. So now this Sukihanna character, she gets pregnant, and all of a sudden she changed her life, and she is the representative for Black people. Well, as a bona fide queen, am I right? I just want to say, just representing myself alone, that Sukihanna does not represent Black women. And just because there is a large amount of people in society who absolutely agrees with people who promote filth in their sexuality and irresponsibility, all of us do not agree with that. And I think that it is offensive when people continuously to put these women who consider themselves, who call themselves hoes, whores, and sluts, to make them feel that it's okay to wear certain regalia or to put themselves in certain positions to be exalted. That's not how, that is not the way of the world. Now, society, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed in society. But I will tell you one more time, again, a Sukihanna does not represent the Black African indigenous woman at all. So she wants to tell people to be themselves, and she wants to make herself feel better by telling people, you know, a lot of y'all live this lifestyle, and a lot of y'all have a past and things, and you know, she's proud of herself in 2020, and she's proud of the things that she was engaging in, and the woman that she is, and you know, it's supposed to be okay. So I think that it is very important that I had made it clear that Black women, that is not what we represent, and we're not condoning it. So I believe that there are more Black women who should call these broads out who are, you know, really weird, and they're really, you know, irresponsible and real loose in the way that they move. You know, they say sometimes it's not what you do, but how you do it. But society and, you know, men and women alike have told these women and shown these women and patronized these women and tell them, hey, it's okay to be this way. You know, things should be kept in adult settings, but they do things that could be considered along the lines of actual adult content or explicit content, and then they can do it where children can access it, and then make it seem like, oh, it's okay. Or they'll say, oh, well, I'm not their role model. Okay, so there's nothing in your consciousness that will tell you, there's not a light that comes on that will tell you that maybe you should tell the young folks, the young girls, hey, you don't want to do what I'm doing because here are the negative repercussions. Why don't people tell people what risks that folks are running by, you know, everybody engaging in these, you know, wild, these sexual encounters and having multiple partners and all of these different things? So people feel as though because they're grown, they should be able to do what they want to do because they're grown. If you're going to be sharing yourself on public platforms, it is your responsibility to inform and educate people on the risks that is ran when you live that certain type of lifestyle. And again, that is the reason why I am making this video. Quite frankly, I will say that I think that a lot of us sisters, we're tired of seeing the low of the lowest of broads and women in, in society, who gets to show their ass and promote themselves in certain type of way, and then make it seem like we're all okay with it. And I'm just one of those women who is not okay with it. I'm sure that, I know that the world likes entertainment, and everybody want to be entertained, and they don't want to, do inner work on themselves, and do the work and do the hard things to, to better themselves and become a better person, not only for themselves, but then for their family, and then for society. That's not the things that are popular. But, if people get online, and they act like they don't have any sense, and they don't act like they have any self-control and any real dignity, then, everybody is okay with it. It seems like the majority of people are okay with it. And then when their kids start engaging in certain things, they're either too intoxicated to address it, or people want to feel mad and sad and all of the lower vibrations when bad things happen. But when preventative measures are taken, then you do the best that you can to prevent certain things from happening. And then people wonder why bad things happen in our communities, because people do not keep it in their mind that they should be careful how they are sharing themselves in sexual ways. And quite frankly, I know for a fact that there are people who are tired of people who are overly sexual and irresponsible with their sexual energy. There is a way to share yourself in a more high vibe, or a classy way. A lot of these women, they share themselves in the most wild, classless ways, with no shame in their game and no dignity at all. And then they'll say that we all should be okay with it because, in her words, you are being real and true to yourself. And the way that I perceive that is that you are trying to tell women of all ages, and possibly young girls, or young girls who may come across that content, that you should be yourself, and it's okay to be to handle yourself, and project yourself, show yourself to the world in the same way that a Sukihanna would show herself. I almost feel bad for her, because when you see how people project themselves to the world, you can literally pick them apart, and you can see how lost they really are. A lot of people, they live those certain type of lifestyles because they are trying to survive. That's one thing. It's really sad, because there are women in third world countries, and there are women all over the world who are being handled in these certain ways, and they're being turned out in these certain ways, and they don't want to be they don't want to do these certain things. They don't want to have to sell their bodies, or thus selling their soul, to be able to make a living, but they do that. And a Sukihanna is like a slap in the face to the women around the world that wish that they could be building building monuments, or building temples, or building beautiful gardens, and maybe sewing and knitting and creating nice clothing and nice shoes, rather than thinking about which man they're going to have to engage with next, so that they can get their next meal, or so that they can feed their child. So these women are parading, and literally just in the most disgraceful way, trying to make it seem like this is the way to be. And then we'll tell a woman on the other side of the screen that possibly is not strong-minded, yeah, be true to yourself. And she like, oh yeah, that's hot, I think that's popping. I want to be like that because I could be true to myself. She got the nice jewelry on, and she got a lot of money, and she made an Instagram page, and one of the guys that was interviewing her was saying, a lot of women were making these pages back in 2020 because they needed money. And then he went on to say, I really like you, Sukihanna, because you're a good-hearted woman. She may be a good-hearted woman. She might be a good woman in her in her, inside, aside from her occupation. But she is an irresponsible woman, and I absolutely do not agree with it. And quite frankly, I don't care for women like that, because they don't tell both sides of the story. It's just like, a man, if he's talking about, robbing Peter to pay Paul, or if he's talking about, his life and how he's doing all of these different negative things to come up, taking from someone else to come up. I don't care what it is that anybody does. If you're taking from someone, I don't care if you're in a whore industry. I don't care if you are in whatever industry or whatever lifestyle, I should say, that is requiring you to take from someone else. Why don't you tell people both sides of the story? Why don't you tell people what it took for you to get there? How many people that you had to step on to get there? How many people ended up taking losses because you took from them? When it comes to women like Sukihanna, who lives a very promiscuous lifestyle and who brags about being a whore, did she tell people how many STDs that she possibly caught? Did she tell people about the people who she is in close friendship, contact, or association with? In one of the interviews, she stated that Sexy Red, who I don't care for, she was going to fly her out to a place and they were going to go to an event. Does Sukihanna tell women that her and her friend girl, Sexy Red, who they have a lot of the same likeness, that Sexy Red promotes STDs, that she actually made a cosmetic line that says some of the most stupidest shit? Does Sukihanna, do they stop and take a minute to tell people what the risks are of living their unacceptable, trifling lifestyle? Oh, it's because they don't have any other talent for real, so they have to sell sex. They don't really have anything of value up here, and to actually, talk about or present, or even to teach and encourage one to raise them up out of their slave mentality, out of their adversities, out of their darkness. So, I said there's a part of me that feels sad for her. Yeah, because I feel as though she may have been misguided. And that's just only the compassionate part of me. But someone said in one of the comments, someone had the audacity to say in one of the comments, they said, oh, she's actually smart. She actually has a good head on her shoulders. So let's just say hypothetically that is true, right? Then she would have enough common sense to know that the way that she projects herself online into the world where children have access to it is irresponsible, and it is absolutely wrong, right? That it's morally wrong, right? And you don't even really have to be that intelligent to know that, right? Something within you should convict you and tell you, and common sense should tell you that it's wrong for you to project yourself in that way. But what they do is they continue to create multiple and many excuses for why they do what they do, and then our community will back that up. And then people who are righteous and trying to live righteous and to live better lives, then we end up, it's always a conflict. Grown folks in our community and in society, and it really is our fault, right? Because we can go back to the things that happen in the generational curses and the things that, that we dealt with, that is one of the reasons why we project ourselves in certain ways. But at the end of the day, going forward, when you live, you learn, and then you do better. That is the expectation. So in this day and time, in this present time, and us knowing that our people are a very intelligent and very powerful people, it's safe to say that our people make this okay. There's only so much empathy and compassion that I could have for a woman such as, a Sukihanna. You want to have fun, you want to do certain things, you want to be grown, whatever. But when you are not conscious and aware that there are young people watching, and you are not assuming the position and taking accountability and responsibility and educating and telling them the honest truth, talking about, oh, be true to yourself. No, if we're going to keep it real, let's keep it real for real. Why don't you tell children, why don't you tell women and young girls that they should not want to be like you? Now, if she makes a video like that, and if she says that on her content, put warning: you do not want to be a Sukihanna. Warning: you do not want to experience all of the darkness and all of the bad things that she has experienced. You don't want to experience that. If she get on a video and really keep it real and tell people the risk that people that sell their bodies or sell their souls, or who are prostitutes, tell them what the real risks are. Tell them that you run the risk of catching STDs. Tell them that you run the risk of being drugged. Tell them that you run the risk of being handled in a violent way, of experiencing violence. Tell them the risk of you being one of possibly many women who has slept with a married man such as Ray J, and you and if his wife was consenting, that's one thing, but it seems as though she was not consenting, and you may be, it is a high probability that a Sukihanna is a part of the reason why him and his wife is going through turmoil at this present time and day. Now, if you don't have a conscience, and that's really what I'm getting from that, from that character Sukihanna, she doesn't have a conscience. So, this video is not for me to reach Sukihanna personally, because I am coming to the conclusion as I speak, and the understanding that Sukihanna doesn't have a conscience, because either you're dumbfounded or you don't have common sense. And I know common sense isn't common, or you just don't care. And I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, the small benefit of the doubt, to say that Sukihanna has, maybe a small level of intelligence and common sense. So you know what it is that you're doing, right? So you don't have a conscience. Now, I understand that a lot of these couples, they like to swing and they like to have multiple partners, again, I've said it many times in my videos, and I'll say it again. I don't care what grown folks do behind closed doors. It's not my business. But when my baby when my child can possibly access that content, you damn right I have a problem with it. And then there's so many of them, right? There's so many Sukihannas, and best believe there's a lot of aspiring Sukihannas. So like I said, I'm not making this video so that she can see it and possibly respond. But now I just want to make myself clear that I'm making this video message just to let the sisters know, the ones that, may be lost, or the ones that, may be aspiring to something, the ones that may feel a little bit desperate to try to get a bag, as they say, or they are aspiring to be, on celebrity level, or, they're aspiring to be a content creator who goes viral. You can do so much better than lowering your standards, your values, your morals, and your principles than to become a Sukihanna. She has engaged in some of the most debauchery content that I have seen. She has done some of the most shameful things that I have seen and that some people should not see, especially children. And that is the problem. There is a lot of children who can see what it is that she does and what she has done. So, there's no sense of respect and responsibility. And I have a problem with that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then we'll use the excuse everybody has a past. Not your past. So again, if people are going to be engaging in certain things and it's going to be something where people can see it, especially people who are considered vulnerable or children, then people need to tell the whole story and tell them the risks that are ran by engaging in certain lifestyles. And again, if you are a young woman who's coming across this video, you can do so much better than a Sukihanna. You don't have to sell your body or sell your soul to get to where you want to go. If you are an adult and you like adult entertainment or you like certain things, I'm not trying to police that at all. I'm not making this video to try to police anything. I'm making this video because I want to encourage people and let women know that, first of all, she does not represent black women. And second of all, you don't have to become a Sukihanna to get what it is that you want out of life. If you are a man, I mean, there's men who actually are in that type of lifestyle and industry too. But if you are a man who is taking from someone else and doing some of the most unspeakable things to get what it is that you want, you don't have to do that either. There are many different ways to get what it is that you need without taking from other people, without hurting other people. So I'm not going to, watch certain things. And as a mother, not only a mother of my child, but amongst the mothers and women of civilization, amongst the mothers who are the mothers of civilization, I'm not going to sit back and watch a woman who is as lowly as Sukihanna get on the internet and try to brag and parade like being a whore is the thing to be, and make it seem like, they are doing their whorish things, but this is what we do and that it is okay. No, what you need to do is keep that behind closed doors where it belongs. What you need to do is keep things that should be only amongst grown folks behind closed doors and only in contained closed places. And stop confusing children. Stop confusing people who are not strong-minded. Stop making it seem like that you broads that are like her are the way to be. That y'all represent black women. Yeah, I have a problem with it. It's not class, it's trash. There is a way to express yourself in certain sexual ways in a classy way. And what I'm seeing from someone like a Sukihanna, I don't see any class in it at all. So yeah, I'm offended. So on behalf of my progeny and a lot of, our community, a lot of our children, I just want to say that, yeah, I do take offense to it. And the reason why I am creating this video is to say that I absolutely despise it. And no, I don't rock with anyone like Sukihanna or her friend girl Sexy Red. They are trifling and they are very lowly in the ways that they represent and present themselves. And then, it's supposed to be all good. And then it's like, yeah, all of us is really rocking with it. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of us ain't rocking with that shit for real. So I just thought I'd make this video message and get that out there and make myself clear. As I always say, I'm going to keep saying it. Sometimes it's not about what you do, but how you do it. People are moving crazy. They're real wild in their ways, and they're promoting a very risky lifestyle and making it okay. Making it seem like that they are the image of our community or the image of Black women. That's a lie. Anyways, I think I've said what I had to say. I think that there is a time and a place for everything, and I think that certain behaviors and certain people and the ways that they live belong in certain spaces, and it does not belong on the internet where young folks can access it. So again, what was this message about? How dare Sukihanna or a Sukihanna try to make it seem like or put yourself in a position of a respectable woman because somebody knocked you up? How dare you get on a microphone or a video and promote your trifling lifestyle and your unacceptable, shameful lifestyle, and then make it seem like it's all good and that all of our children should aspire to be like you and tell them, be yourself. No, you should be encouraging them not to be like you. And that is the reason why I am making this video message. So I hope you guys, I hope somebody get the message. And all in all, I just wish that, we will hold each other accountable, but then do better in the process.